Hey, Thomas from Field Tennis. What is a heavy ball in tennis and what are the characteristics of a heavy ball? Now I can answer that immediately, but I think it's really important that you understand why must a heavy ball have these characteristics. So the short answer is a heavy ball must have a lot of topspin. It must have quite a lot of speed and it needs to land deep, which means it needs to have good height above the net. And to help you really understand why you need all three components, so topspin, speed and depth, we're going to do a little experiment today. I'm going to hit three types of shots where I will use only two components and leave out the third one. Then we're going to see what kind of balls I'm hitting, how they're affecting my assistant Kaya on the other side, and how much risk they carry. And if you're wondering how to hit a heavy ball, meaning how to develop stroke technique that produces a heavy ball, then stay tuned and subscribe because I will show you that in the upcoming video. So let's start with the first experiment. I'm going to put a lot of topspin on the ball and I'm going to give it height, but I will not give it speed. So let's see what kind of ball I get and how does this ball affect Kaya. I don't see Kaya having a lot of problems. The ball is dropping down in most cases, down into her ideal strike zone, and she has a lot of time because I waste a lot of energy into spinning the ball and I don't hit with speed, so she has time, and so this ball does not bother her at all. So if you're only using topspin and height but not enough speed, you're not getting a heavy ball. One more thing, is this ball safe for me to hit? Yes, it is very safe for me to hit. It's not risky because I'm not using speed. Speed is risk, so it is a safe ball, but it's very ineffective and it might work somewhere to around maybe 3.5 level. You're not creating many points, but you're not making mistakes, which is very important in tennis. But once you get to higher level, the ball is not going to be effective enough and your opponent is going to run you around. So this is what happens when you play a good player and you put a lot of topspin on the ball. You give the ball height, you think you're safe. Yes, you are safe, you're not making unforced errors, but you're not safe in terms of winning or losing the point because most points you're going to lose. Experiment number 2, I will put a lot of topspin on the ball and I will hit it fast, but I will not give it height. So obviously that's going to be quite risky, and again we're looking at Kaya. How does that ball affect her in terms of time and strike zone? Is she getting the ball in the strike zone? Does she have a lot of time? And from my point of view, how risky is the ball? Ooh. Sometimes you hit these balls and then you think that's how I'm supposed to play, and not realizing, man, you were lucky. I've hit very fast low balls at Kaya and the ball is coming right into her strike zone and she has no problem handling that ball. So even though she doesn't have much time, the ball is in her strike zone, she's good enough player to be able to time the ball and I'm not achieving anything. So one important stat that you should be aware is that at pro level, and I would assume it's similar at rec club level, player is not positioned when they're hitting the ball about 30% of the time, and 70% of the time they are positioned. So that means they're in some kind of stance, they positioned and they're hitting, and that means they will have good ball control. And so when you're attempting very low fast balls, 70% of the time your opponent will be positioned, and if they're somewhere 4-0 level or higher, they will have no problem with your ball to handle it, to use your speed to control it. You're putting in a lot of risk to this ball for very low effectiveness. Very rarely you will achieve something. So that's why, while this ball for a good player is not super risky, for me is medium risky. It's risky. I would prefer to hit a heavy ball, which you will see at the end of this experiment, but I'm not achieving anything with a any good player, and so it's pointless to use this type of tennis. Okay, experiment number 3. I'm going to play with height and with speed, but not with topspin. So this one is probably the most obvious. You probably can imagine what is going to happen, but keep in mind some balls will go in even without enough topspin if I kind of gauge the speed and height right. So that ball might trouble Kaya a little bit. We're gonna see on the iPad footage. So let's hit a few balls and again assess in terms of time. Does Kaya have time? Where does the ball go in terms of strike zone? And whether this shot is risky for me or not. So I'm playing fast and relatively high. I'm not trying to put a lot of topspin on the ball. Too long, so I can try and gauge my power and figure it out, but it's very, very risky. That's another shot. You will see from the top camera it landed right in the corner. That must not encourage you. You must see, oh my god, I was so lucky, this is so risky, I must play something else. She will have problem with time. I'm playing very fast. If she's not too close to the baseline, that if she's playing half volley, then it's even worse in terms of time, but if she's staying a bit further back, then she's getting the ball outside of the strike zone. So the ball is difficult for her, but it's very risky for me. So not a good idea to play the ball like that. And so now you can see why we need all 3 components for a heavy ball, which I will attempt to play now. So I need enough speed. If you remember experiment number 1, I was putting a lot of topspin and height, but not enough speed. The ball is easy for Kaya. Experiment number 2, I was putting speed and spin, but not enough height. I made a lot of mistakes. The ball is kind of medium difficult for Kaya. And this last one, the ball is difficult for Kaya, but I'm just making too many mistakes. So what I need to make this shot that is relatively difficult, the last one, the 3rd experiment, what do I need? I need more topspin to bring the ball down, to make it deep, so that I still have some speed to trouble Kaya in terms of time, and that I have speed and trajectory to give the ball outside of her strike zone, and for me to be able to play that safely. A very good neutralizing ball from Kaya. Yeah. Yeah, and I forced a mistake because the ball is very uncomfortable for her. I can do this all day. Remember Captain America? I can do this all day. I'm playing safe, but difficult balls. Yeah, very good ball by Kaya. Yeah. Yeah, I forced a mistake again. So I'm showing you how to play safe and aggressive. I'm hitting aggressive shots. I'm hitting a heavy ball, but difficult for Kaya to control because the ball is coming out of her strike zone and it's relatively fast. Yeah, very good. If I show how high I got the ball. So Kaya hitting also very good heavy balls quite often. She's used to playing competitive tennis, and so she can hit a heavy ball. So I'm also getting some balls at this height. Very good neutralizing ball by Kaya. See, that's a very heavy ball. One more. Yeah, very good ball by Kaya, and I make a mistake. Just want to show you, when you have 2 good players, they will keep each other neutralizing. They will keep neutralizing each other with heavy balls. The balls are not comfortable. They're coming out of the strike zone. If you push sometimes too much, you're gonna make a mistake. So that's very important skill to practice. Yeah, very good. A bit short. Yeah, very good. Defensive ball by Kaya. Yeah, very good. We are neutralizing each other. Yeah, I can try and get some angle here. Yeah, and then I have a chance to finish the point. So that's how you work your way into the point. Heavy ball, heavy ball. You get a short ball and then you can start opening up the angles, play a drop shot, approach, whatever you want. But your foundation of tennis is a very safe and yet aggressive ball. In the next video, we're gonna take a look at how to hit a heavy ball. So in terms of technique, how do you technically execute a stroke like that? What drills to to use to develop such technique, in which cases to hit a heavy ball, in which cases you should not hit a heavy ball, because there are cases in tennis where you should not try to hit a heavy ball, it's too risky. And if you haven't seen my previous video on how to hit a good neutralizing ball, which is a foundation of the heavy ball, that should also pop up on the screen. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.